Well, right now we are getting our first look at Bradenton Beach, which is just north of where Hurricane Milton made landfall.
Yeah, 8 on your sides. Brittany Muller just got to the barrier islands there. Brittany, how does it look?
It's in complete devastation, Avery and Deanne. Good morning to you. We are currently at the Sandpiper Resort Co-op. It's a mobile home park in Bradenton Beach. I believe we're also getting into Anna Maria Island right now, but every street has debris. The storm surge just completely lifted all this debris up. You could see some of the furniture, roofs are torn off, and we just see there's down power lines. And joining me right now live is Jeremy Roberts. Jeremy, thank you so much. Tell me a little bit about your team that's been tasked by the governor's office.
Yes, ma'am. So we're the Florida Region 3 Incident Management Team, acting as the Forward CERT, that's S-E-R-T, which is the State Emergency Response Team. We were sent here by the governor about 10 or 11 days ago now to help Chief Cosby here in Bradenton Beach with all of their needs post-Helene. And so we just happen to be here on the ground and stayed here on the ground through Milton's impacts as well.
I want to show you, look at this roof. This is what we're talking about down here. So most people evacuated this area, which is a really good sign. People were listening to those warnings. But we're talking about devastation from not only Milton overnight, but also Helene. You're seeing all of this sand because of Helene on top of the devastation from last night, and it's just a hard-hit area. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So, like you were saying, a lot of the sand that was here, there was 4 to 6 feet of sand across the roadways and in around a lot of the homes and business that was from Helene. Worked really diligent with the Florida Department of Transportation over the last week and a half to get a lot of this debris and the sand cleared out of the area. I also worked really well with Florida Power and Light, FPL, to get all the power lines back up and their equipment and power completely restored to the island before Milton hit last night.
I have to tell you, my photographer and I were out here the day after Helene hit, and most people didn't have access to their homes unless they were walking over the bridge at that point, and they were just in shock to see the status of their homes completely inundated with sand. And now that's the case right now. We're a few hours post Milton, and people are no longer able to access their homes at this point because the bridges have been shut down. They're being turned off the island at this point so first responders can respond. What would your message be to the residents here on the barrier islands in Manatee County at this hour?
So speaking specifically for Bradenton Beach, because that's where we're at, the town did actually fare pretty well. There is a lot of wind damage and debris that you'll see scattered about the streets and amongst the homes, but overall there was nothing overly significant that we have seen thus far. Power is down to the entire island that we're aware of right now. They're working on getting the water and sewer reestablished after it was shut off out of an abundance of caution before landfall a couple of days ago.
Jeremy, you are from Northeast Florida, the Nassau County Fire Rescue. You are so brave. Your team is so brave. We're so thankful to have you in Tampa Bay. We're in a desperate situation right now. All first responders, we're so thankful to have everyone here on the ground doing what you do best. We're seeing cars just inundated with sand, and that actually right here to our right, if you could pan off, Gordon, to our right, I'm not sure if you could see it now, but that's still from Helene. And this is the situation. This community hasn't even recovered from Helene, and now they're facing the devastation of Milton. What are you
very nervous, very concerned. I mean, the forecasted storm surge for this area was anywhere from 9 to 15 feet. And we were very worried that we were going to come back out here to a lot more of the buildings on the ground, just, you know, a lot more damage. We were quite relieved to see that the surge impact from Milton was very minimal, if any at all. Just kind of isolated pockets along the shoreline at this point that we've seen. And mostly wind damage. A lot of the folks boarded up. They were ready and prepared for it. But I think the residents, when they get back on the island, there may be some relief for them knowing that many of the houses are still here and undamaged.
Jeremy, when we first met last week, we saw a home that was completely off its foundation. The water pushed it down the street. Have you seen more homes like that?
Unfortunately, yes, there was one additional home in that exact same spot that came down. We're not sure if that was from wind or surge, but there was one more home that we did find on that side.
Could you take us to that area?
Absolutely.
It's just devastation. You could see some of the water. We're traveling through it right now. I'm speechless. You know, these first responders are so brave. They're protecting our community, protecting the homes right now. It's a ghost town out here, so people have been heeding those warnings. No power out here. It's something that we've been seeing overnight. Last night, we were actually in the eye of the storm, my photographer and I, Gordon Dempsey, and it was so calm and quiet. I've never been in the eye of a storm. Have you, Jeremy?
No, ma'am.
Can you talk to me about what you were experiencing?
So the entire Northeast Florida team, we were actually sheltering in place at the City of Bradenton Emergency Operations Center off of 59th Street. We took a good portion of the eye wall there, did lose power there, a lot of tree limbs down, but no significant damage right around that location.
This is also taking an emotional impact. You know, we got word that there's Nadine out there. There's another storm out there. And just to know that, you know, we're in the middle of hurricane season, and it's been pretty brutal for the Tampa Bay, the Gulf Coast line. Everyone's on edge. You can see one of these signs right here. It says, God bless AMI. This community is so resilient, and everyone keeps saying they will rebuild. They'll come back stronger than ever. What would you say to that?
I'm completely in agreement with them. Like I said, this is a very strong, very hardy community. These folks, you know, as soon as they were allowed back on the island, they spent several days walking nearly a mile just to go from where they could park back onto the main road, which is Golf Drive north and south. And they were walking up and down the roads with shopping carts, shopping buggies, wagons, whatever they could find, just to bring in cleaning supplies to get their supplies out. And they have let absolutely nothing stop them at this point.
Right, and for those residents that live here on the barrier islands in Manatee County, it is impassable. That's why the county has shut down access to the barrier islands, because it's for your own safety. I know that you're probably antsy to check on your belongings at this hour, but it is closed for a reason. First responders, we've seen fire rescue, we've seen urban search and rescue, we've seen so many different types of first responders here. They're actively working. If we also pan the camera straight ahead, you see they're all lit up. They're here. They're trying to do their best, working around the clock to make sure that you can get back onto the island as soon as possible. But right now it is impassable. And as we head south, what can we expect to see?
A lot of what we saw go in the opposite direction. The buildings down this way are more of the single family, single story, or maybe two-story homes. But you said you're still going to see a lot of significant debris that was there from Helene that we were actively working with DOT and our debris partners trying to get it up before. Unfortunately, we got 270 cubic yards. So if you're thinking about that, that's almost three football fields long and 3 feet high of debris off. But they said there was still quite a bit that is still here in the area.
It is unbelievable. I can't believe it, but I'm so glad that people really took those evacuations orders seriously, and we are just here. We're going to be here with Jeremy and his team, and we'll bring you the very latest. We'll be joining you again, as well as WFLA Now with JB. But for now, I'll send it back to you, Avery and Deanne.